Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we're going to be covering the side units going to be appearing alongside with Zack and Ramza in the upcoming Divine Leviathan event, which is going to be none other than Trey and Rydia. Now Rydia will finally be getting her LD weapon alongside with a rework and her C90, and Trey will be getting a small rework alongside with his C90. But are any of these two units worth chasing for while you are pulling for either Zack or Ramza? Well, I'm gonna go over what exactly they are gonna be getting with their changes and let you guys know if they are worth chasing now or if you can hold off until a future banner. So, as always, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. Let me know what you guys think about these two characters down in the comment section below, if you're gonna be chasing them or not. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we'll first start off with Rydia's rework to her skill 1, which now becomes a 4-hit Magic Brave, plus an HP attack 4 times. Her skill 2 becomes a 5-hit AoE Water Magic Brave, plus an AoE HP attack 2 times that allows for 180% Stolen Max Brave Overflow, and increases Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after the first HP attack. It also inflicts the Water Resist Down debuff to all targets after the first HP attack. With her C90, her EX ability now turns into a 4-hit AoE Magic Brave, plus an AoE HP attack 3 times that ignores defense and inflicts the Water Resist Down debuff to all targets for 4 turns after the first HP attack. Her EX buff now allows her to retain 30% of the Brave when using HP attacks. Her C65 got extended to 7 turns and adds a 10% party weakness damage up, now being a total of 20, and a 20% party brave damage cap up. With her LD ability, Radiant Breath is a 5-hit AoE Water Magic Brave, plus an AoE HP attack 4 times that ignores defense, deals splits HP damage. She increases her Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last, and inflicts the new framed debuff Water Weakness to all targets for 4 turns after the first HP attack. It also grants her a free ability use on her next turn, excluding some abilities. Now the Water Weakness debuff is a Water Resist Down, and even if the enemies absorb water, they will still take weakness damage. Other Water Resist Down debuffs cannot be inflicted while this debuff is active. When you use her LD ability, it also grants her the new buff called Mother's Dragon for 8 turns and 3 stacks of the Blink buff to the party. Now the Mother's Dragon, grants the following: a 20% attack up, HP damage up, and Stolen Max Brave Overflow up. To the party, a 20% attack up, but to Rydia it'll be a 40%, a 20% HP damage up for the party, but to Rydia it'll be 40%, and a 20% party Stolen Max Brave Overflow, but to Rydia it'll be 40%. Now the Blink buff, which is granted to the party, grants 100% evasion rate up. The stacks decrease by 1 after evading and dispels at 0 stacks with no turn duration, and the Blink buff has a max stacks of 3. Next up is Trey. So Trey's rework to his skill 1, Raining Arrows Charge 2, now becomes a 6-hit AoE Ranged Brave, plus an AoE HP attack 2 times that increases Brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack. The trap debuff, Arrow Shower, becomes an 8-hit AoE Ranged Brave, plus an AoE HP attack that now deals 4 HP damage. Now one thing that I forgot to add onto this slide is that because Trey is getting his C90, the buff Accurate Arrow that he grants himself after using his skill 1 now adds a 20% HP damage up for Trey, and whenever he is attacking a debuff target, he adds a 50% Brave damage up. Now more than likely, Trey will be inflicting a debuff via his skill 1, his EX, or his LD, so he can take advantage of the 50% Brave damage up, and also will include the follow-up attacks from the trap debuffs that he inflicts onto the enemy. Now his skill 2, Dynamite's Arrow Charge 2, is a 6-hit ranged Brave, plus an HP attack 2 times that increases Brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after the first HP attack. The Dynamite Trap is now an 8-hit ranged brave plus an HP attack. His LD now becomes a 6-hit ranged brave plus an HP attack 4 times that increases brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. The LD debuff Firewall Trap that he inflicts after he uses his LD ability increases brave to 100% of attack, then deals a 4-hit ranged brave plus an HP attack 2 times that increases brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after the first HP attack. With his C90, his EX ability turns into a 5-hit AoE ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 3 times that increases brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. His C65 got extended to 12 turns and adds a 25% attack up, now being a total of 40%, and a 40% brave damage cap up. And finally, his HP attack plus charge 2 command increases brave gain to 30% of his max brave, then deals a 6-hit ranged brave plus an HP attack, and it then reverts back to the HP attack command after use. So is Rydia and Trey worth chasing for in the upcoming Ramza and Zac banners? Now, Rydia is going to be on the Zac banner, while Trey, he will be on the Ramza banner. So we're going to start off with Trey. Trey, the way I look at him as a character, he is an off-turn damage dealer. He has 3 specific ways to be able to deal off-turn damage. It just depends on which skills you actually choose first, because you have your skill 1, your skill 2, and your LD ability. His EX ability has a debuff, making it so that whenever the enemy receives any brave damage, it inflicts break on them if they are not already broken. And it also has a brave damage resist down, so that means there's going to be additional brave damage that either Trey, his off-turn attacks, or anybody else in the team will be dealing onto the enemy. So it's actually not a bad debuff. Now, the debuff does last for 3 turns. It's not a very long duration, but it's enough where you have time in between the rotations that you have with Trey to be able to inflict it here and there. So even if it's not on the enemy, I mean, you still are gonna be dealing that off-turn damage with the traps that he does have. So, and that's the way that I look at Trey. Now, the other good thing about his C90 is that the buff from his skill 1 makes it so that he deals additional HP damage, and when the enemy is debuffed, which more than likely, if you have Trey on the team, he will have one of the 2 traps from either his skill 1 or his LD ability inflicted, or even the EX debuff inflicted onto the enemy. More than likely, it's going to be there, so that way Trey will deal an additional 50% brave damage, which is great because it's going to help him out, especially with that off-turn damage. So if you're needing yourself a character that deals a good amount of off-turn damage, especially with the right team counts to be able to, let's say, enchant Trey, that'll be additional brave damage that he'll be able to deal, then Trey's not a bad option if you are needing yourself an off-turn damage dealer. Now, based off of what the Cydia Compendium says, his LD weapon has not been reran, but look, again, I could be wrong. I'm just following what is said on the Cydia Compendium. You never know. I mean, it is global, and global tends to change up some banners here and there, so you never know if Trey might appear at a later date, but I'm just going off of what the Cydia Compendium has. Now with Rydia now provides a party evasion, which is great, via the buff that she grants to her team. The only downside about that buff is that every time that you evade, it goes down by 1, and it has a max stacks of 3. So you have 3 not really chances, but like you have 3 uses, I guess you could say, of that buff before it actually expires, and then you actually get hit by a brave attack, HP attack, or you get inflicted with a debuff, etc., etc. And that's the thing that I like about her buff, is the fact that it also helps me in avoiding any type of debuffs that get inflicted to me, but it does also count towards the duration of that buff going down. Aside from that, though, she is able to water enchant, for those who do not know, so she is another option if you're needing a water enchanter for the party. She does provide additional party ores, which is nice as well. She was previously via her EX buff, which, you know, it's like the basic stuff like max brave and attack up, but now with her LD buff on Mother's Dragon, she provides HP damage up, I think more attack up if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, attack up and stolen overflow. So it is nice, but the thing is though, like that buff makes it so that she actually gets double of what the party already has. So best believe, like, you know, Rydia's, she's gonna do her thing if you do have her in your team comps. But like, at least for me though, I used her more as a call ability than anything else, or than having her on the team. And her call ability is not bad because you do have access to the 3 turn, or not turn, but like the 3 action, I guess you could say, attack action of her buff for that evasion. And that her call ability has actually helped me out a few times during the Shinryu era, because there have been some bosses where they do constantly inflict you with debuffs, or, you know, you're trying to avoid any upcoming attacks that is gonna potentially knock you out, you know, etc, etc. Having her as a call ability would not be a bad idea. If you do manage to get her LD weapon while you're pulling for Zack, then you're good to go. But if you are wanting to wait for a future character that does provide party evasion via his EX buff, Edge is an evasion tank unit that is going to be a character that I would highly recommend a lot of characters pull for, because like he will be given follow-ups. He does have that party evasion. They extend his log. They basically just make them so much better that, like, I've actually used them myself in I don't know, like maybe 5 Shinryu fights to avoid like either constant attacks, or especially going up against the one boss that we fought before. I forgot his name, but it was from the 6 Warrior quest, and Edge was my MVP for that fight because I avoided everything. But if you're not wanting Edge, and if you want to use Rydia is not a bad option either. You just gotta make sure that you time that blink buff to give you that that gives you the party evasion, so that way, you know, you won't get inflicted or attacked, etc, etc. So for me myself, I used her as a call ability. So it really just depends if you are needing a unit like that is able to water enchant, provide some evasion, some party ores, and that's about it. So let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about these 2 characters, if you're going to be chasing for either of the 2. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, Rydia's LD weapon does get reran in the 2nd 6 Warrior quest, which will be a good while from now. So that really depends on you as well, if you want to wait that long, or if you want to wait for another evasion tank that is going to be coming up later on. And no, I'm not saying Rydia is an evasion tank before somebody gets confused with that. So, but anyway, so thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and I will catch you guys in the next one.